Hey, Tim here. Did you ever think that you had a guitar part down and then ended up with egg on your face? I certainly did, and it was my own fault. I couldn't blame it on anybody but myself. I had gotten really sloppy without even realizing it. And here's the thing, you could be doing the same thing. Your favorite gear may be holding you back from getting better. Now, before we start, a quick explanation why I'm talking about this on the channel. If you know me, you know that a huge part of my career has been focused around music and helping people give voice to their hearts. So I understand the challenges that you face, and I love to discover and share solutions that can help you reach your music dreams. Um, do you like my t-shirt wall? I had to rebuild the whole thing. Anyway, as a writer for Sweetwater, I have the amazing opportunity to keep my ear to the ground about trends, new ideas, and amazing instruments and gear. It also lets me talk face to face with the people who influence all of that, the movers, the shakers, the builders, the dreamers, and I wanted to give you access to those insights. However, this is my channel, and it's not Sweetwater's, so it's just me having fun DIYing these videos, talking about the things that light up my eyes and things that make me say, aha, this is important, I've got to tell somebody. So, I don't do many of the videos. You probably are one of the first to see it. Please help like, subscribe, share, and all of that. That way it helps me get the video out to people who will find it useful, hopefully like you. So, if you have questions or comments, just drop that into the comment section, and maybe your thoughts will send me in a new direction for another video. Now, back to the sad story about playing poorly in front of all of my Sweetwater peers. Here's what happened. When I started at Sweetwater, I really wanted to be able to pick up a guitar and play something that immediately showed I knew what I was doing. I did not have to be the best. Let's face it, with all the talent that's out there at Sweetwater, that's pretty much impossible. There's always somebody who's better, and then there's always somebody who's better than that person, and it goes on and on. I just didn't want to be bad. So I dusted off a song from my past. It was a really heavy rendition of Carol of the Bells. I performed it many times with some great players over the years, and I felt good about the version that I'd created. And if you're familiar with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra version, it's kind of like that. Although there's a sweet picking part down toward the end of the song I've never gotten down, but I made a workaround that I could feel good about. And I still use that song as a warm-up. I practice with it, and I even created a super saturated, really heavily ambience preset for it on my Helix. I still occasionally use it. It's a killer throwback to those massive stadium rock days that I loved when I still had hair. And I even made a version for the stadium, so it's a good tone. But when the chance came to play a shredding guitar through a tube amp that was being displayed, instead of blowing away the room, I blew my tone to pieces. My technique was awful. I buzzed, I muted notes that should have been crystal clear. My precision was anything but, and there was nothing wrong with the guitar. The action, the neck, the strings, the amp was stellar. The problem was me. When I got home, I went ahead, grabbed my own guitar, grabbed my Helix, powered the thing up. It sounded great. The song sounded good. My parts sounded fine. So I thought, okay, I'll chalk it up that maybe I was nervous. Maybe I was having a bad day. Maybe I choked. But I was wrong. Now, enter Paul Reed Smith. One day, Paul brought in his pristine Dumble to Sweetwater along with some really special vintage guitars from his own collection and some of his PRS guitars and amps. And he let us try out about $500,000 worth of gear. I think that's right. And he really went all out for us. Now, I have the opportunity to play some great gear every day, but that time was really incredibly special. So thank you, Paul. I think my favorite vintage was the 63 Tele. It was made the year I was born. Hey, and Paul wanted us to hear these instruments. He wanted us to play them. He wanted us to get hands-on with them, and here's why. Now, I've heard recordings of Dumble guitars, but I have never been in the room with one, and much less played one. That's just not in my experience. But all the time I play gear, I play pedals and amps that claim to have Dumble experience or feel or whatever, but I've never been around one, so how do I really know if those claims are accurate? So, when Paul brought out the Strats and the Teles, and especially the Dumble, I was really intrigued. It's been years since I played some of those classic instruments, and you know what I discovered? One, modern guitars and amps hold up. They are consistent. Their feel, their tone, it's all there without having to mortgage the house. And two, that Dumble, it was incredible. It could make a fantastic player just sing. It was so articulate, it was so precise. But you had to be a good player to handle that amp. You had to be a great player. If there were any flaws, they would show. You couldn't hide. It was exposed in front of everyone to hear. If a player could not rise to that challenge, if they couldn't do the work to get better, that is not the amp for them. I connected that experience with the day I played Carol of the Bells. So you get the picture, this saturated sound with all the delays, the reverbs, the modulation, the compression that I used to work with day after day after day. Those things just hid my flaws. Now, they might be great for playing in front of an audience, but it is no way to get better. You can get sloppy. You don't even notice it because you don't hear it. Sure, you want the inspirational tone, but when you're practicing, you need something that will show you what to work on. You've got to hear your flaws. Otherwise, you will never get better. And it kind of reminded me of the advice that I got when I first started playing guitar. I'd only been playing for 4 months, and I talked to the guitar player of a band that played for my high school dance, and I think the band's name was Champagne. So I went up to the guy and I said, hey, I'm a guitar player now too. Oh. And I said, give me some advice. And he said, okay, if you're having a bad night, crank up the volume. They'll never know. I thought that was terrible advice, but that's exactly what I think I've been doing without even realizing it. I was covering up the flaws and I wasn't getting better. I was getting worse. You might be doing the same thing. There's a simple solution. Spend some of your practice time playing without any wet effects. Use a quality amp or even a good modeler that will have enough depth and clarity to give you an accurate picture of your playing. You want to hear the flaws, and you'll get better just because by hearing those flaws, you'll adapt to overcome them. So then when you add the effects and the big room and the crowd and the rest of the band, your playing will be much better. Your tone will sound good, will be more controlled, you play more accurate, your attack, your hands. You won't need the crutch of the forgiving amp and all the effects. So then you can use those effects to make the song really shine with playing that you can be proud of. So if you want to get better, it's worth the investment in the gear that will help you. So hey, it is an exciting time to be a guitar player. There's some great equipment out there. So let's use it to get better and get those songs inside you to shine. And at least for me, it's a Sweetwater life.